Lorree here, welcome back. So today we are working on part 10 of our Happy May-le Month Challenge, and we are going to be adding our lace trims to the edge of our pages and then working on the book cover, and then we will be finished with this batch of journals. So as you can see, I'm currently just grabbing a bunch of different lace trims. I'm trying to get ones that are relatively small so that I don't need to cut them as much. So I am trying to stick to smaller ones that will fit to the page, like this one here, as much as I can. Obviously I will still have to cut some down, but for the most part I'm hoping to use up those little tiny bits that need to be used. So I'm not using any kind of number or kind of strategic way of putting these down. I'm literally just grabbing a page and adding a lace trim to it. I'm not counting how many I'm putting in, and I'm not sticking to a certain style or a certain width. I'm just seeing what I like and I'm sticking it down. I'm also sticking to both sides of the page so that I'm not, so not all lace trims will be on this side of the page, some will be on the other side of the page, if that makes sense. So like this one here, I'm putting on the inside of the page as well, so they're on left and right sides of the page. I hope I'm making sense and not just talking drivel. But I'm just going to go through and do all that, add my lace trims to all the pages I want to add them to, and then we will get started on the cover. Also, instead of adding music to the background of this video, I've decided to add rain effect sound, as I literally just found out that I could. So let me know how you feel about that. If it's nice and soothing or if it just makes you want to pee, let me know. But I thought it was quite soothing, so I thought I would pop it in, and you guys can let me know how you feel about it. I might use that from time to time because I thought it was really nice and relaxing, but I would like to know your thoughts on it. So obviously if you don't like it, let me know and I won't use it. But yeah, let me know down below. After I picked out this lace, I ended up putting too much glue on this bit of paper, so I ended up having to grab another one, which is why you'll see me kind of grab one from the pile rather than the one I'd picked out. The glue kind of splurged out, which is annoying because I just filled it, but it seems to be more thick. The glue that I'm filling with is more like a gel glue than the one I'm used to, so it comes out rather quickly when it eventually does come out. Otherwise it takes forever to come out, which is so annoying because I literally just filled this up. But yeah, that's why I grabbed from the pile there rather than using the lace that I'd specifically picked out. I apologise if I'm not too chatty in this video. I'm actually kind of recovering from a little sickness bug that was really horrible, so I apologise if I'm not overly chatty in this video. I really just want to get this out, and I'm not 100% today, but I am trying. So I'm really sorry if I'm having a lot of gaps between me talking and just letting you kind of enjoy the process. I hope you guys don't mind. As you can see, I've kind of went back and used that lace now, and popped that down. So I hope you guys are all doing well and that you're enjoying this process and that you've got some ideas for our next batch of journals. I would love to hear any ideas you guys have for our ring bound journals. I'm kind of racking my brain on things to use for embellishments and things that are slightly different from this batch and the previous batch. So yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts and your ideas in the comments below. It would definitely help me out. So yeah, let me know down below. The next video after this will be a full flip through of all of the journals. So this one and the other 4 that I mostly did it off camera, and just to kind of show you guys everything that I've done, and so that I've got a reference for my own self. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. So now that's the last piece of lace down. What I'm going to do is grab other little bits and bobs from my lace trim snippet bag and pop the other ones away. And these are the ones I'm going to kind of try and incorporate into the front cover. So I'm just grabbing random little bits and bobs of lace trim and popping them to the side, and then I will get started on the front cover. So this is the image that I'm going to be using for the front cover. It was a book page that I had in my scrap box. So I've used book pages and book cover pages for the front covers. So I'm just going to go around with my ruler and kind of tear off the edges that I don't want to use, just so I've got it down to a more manageable length, or size rather. so that I can obviously add layers and things like that around it and it still fit on the front cover. So at the moment this is what we've got size wise, so obviously as you can see we've still got quite a bit of room around it to add little bits and bobs, which is what we want. So I'm just going to go in with my walnut stain Distress Oxide. This is a new one. I still haven't got the other one from down behind my desk. So it's quite juicy, so it's a little bit darker than I expected it to be, but oh well. So now I'm just going to grab in my scrap bags that I have put aside with little bits of embellishments and things like that on them. And I'm just kind of rummaging them through and grabbing things that I like and putting the things that I don't think I'll use back in the bags. Obviously I'm not going to use all of this stuff, but it's just kind of stuff that catches my eye. I'm just kind of grabbing it and popping it out, and I maybe might use it. And then they all get popped to the side and I can get started. So the first one that's kind of catching my eye is this piece of packaging that has like a collage effect on the background and a little butterfly at the bottom. I'm thinking of cutting that butterfly off though, so I'm just kind of looking to see roughly what size I want it to be, and then I will trim it down. So here I'm just making sure it's kind of level. It's actually making sure it's the right way. Everything's cut straight essentially. And then I'm going around with my distress ink and then layering it up. I'm not going to glue it right away because I may put lace or something like that underneath. So I'm just kind of situating it roughly where I want it. Then I've grabbed this little bit of book page and I'm just inking around it, and I'm thinking of popping it somewhere at the top. Don't know where yet, but it's going to go on there somewhere. So again, I'm just going to put it back on the cover so I can kind of see how everything will lie once it's stuck down. And I like it there. So that's where it's going to go. I'm going to trim off the top so it's nice and flat, so that it lies flat against the edge of that grey piece. And then I can glue that down with my Pritt stick once I've kind of just double checked that I like it, and I do. So I'll go and grab my Pritt stick and a little piece of wax paper to glue everything onto, rather than getting glue all over my desk, and then that can get stuck down. So now I'm trying to pick out a piece of lace. Like I said, I kind of want to pop one underneath that picture so that it's layered between the picture and that grey background. So I'm just kind of grabbing different laces and seeing what I like until I find one that I like, basically. So I'm kind of just faffing about, trying to figure out where I like the lace to sit, and then if I like the lace or not, and then I will move on to the next one or stick with the lace that I have, depending on if I like it or not. So this ends up being the lace that I go with. I think it looks really nice. It doesn't take a lot of space away from the grey picture at the background, but it still adds that prettiness that I'm looking for. I don't want it to cover up the grey background too much, because otherwise there'd be no point in putting it there. But I do want it to kind of add that extra layer. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm just gluing it to the very edge of the back side of that front image. And then I'll trim it down so that it's flush with the edges, and then we've got that done. So now I'm going to kind of move on and see where else I kind of want to add some layers, which will be the bottom corner. And I have this sort of envelope flap here that I will be popping down there, and I really like how that looks, so that's where that's going to go. And again, I kind of want to just double check that everything fits nicely before I kind of decide on it. And I think I'm going to glue this top flap down at the moment. I can't remember if I do or not. But no, I'm going to grab a bit of lace first. And I really like how this lace looks on the bottom half of the picture. But I still don't want to cover up that writing. So I'm going to tuck it underneath. And it just gives a nice little skirt effect, which I really like. It's really nice and dainty, but it's just nice and frilly. I really like this lace. So I'm just going to cut off that edge piece that's too long, and then I will see how it looks with a little bit of Distress ink. Literally just the tiniest amount, just to give it a little bit of colour rather than having it that stark white, just so it blends into the picture a little bit better. And then I'm going to pop it down and see how it looks. And there we are, and I think that looks really nice. As you can see, I've left the bottom half of the envelope flap a little bit longer at the bottom, just so it still peeks out beyond that lace. But I really love how that looks. So I'm just going in with my glue and adding that lace trim to the bottom of the picture. So now I'm just going to situate that back piece there, and then I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to mark with a pen on the back where it's going to sit, so that I can then add my glue exactly where I need it to be. And then I will flip it over and pop it on, and again I'll flip it back over and just make sure it's in the right place and that there's no glue showing, and then add a little bit of pressure to make sure everything is in the right place. And then I'm going to do the same with the little flap, but I don't think I glue it on right away, if I remember correctly. I add my little flap lines so that I know that that's where I'm to glue, but I'm not going to glue it down directly just yet. I'm going to play about with it a little bit more to see if I want to add anything else. So I've grabbed this little bit here, and I kind of want to bring some lace trim up into the corner at the top here, just to kind of even things out. So I'm kind of cutting, not completely in half, as I haven't decided if I want a bigger piece or a smaller piece just yet. So I'm just kind of playing around with both of those to see which one I prefer. And I've decided to add some Distress ink to them, again, just because they're so stark white. I want to see how they would look when they fit into the aesthetic a little bit better. But I do end up going with that little piece there, because I think it's just nice and dainty enough that it's not taking away from too much of the picture, but still adding to it. I hope I'm making sense. Whereas I feel like the big piece takes a lot of attention away from everything else. So yeah, I end up going with this little small piece right up in the corner there. And then I'm grabbing my vintage buttons, and I'm going to layer a couple of vintage buttons on top of that little piece as well. So again, I'm just playing around, trying to find what I like the best, what colours suit, if I want 2 or 3. It just depends on what I like. I end up deciding that 2 is better than 3. I feel like 3 is kind of pushing it, so I stick with 2. And again, I just kind of play around until I find the colour combination that I think looks the nicest. So now that I've got those chosen, I go in with my glue and I'm adding that flap down, just on that line there. And again, I'm just kind of quickly running my Distress ink over the edge of that flap as well. And just making sure I've got it in the right position. And again, just turning it over to make sure that there's no glue showing on the back. And I'm also going to glue down this piece here in the top corner, and then my buttons on top. So now I'm kind of just going to grab a few other little bits and bobs and see if I want to add anything else to this front piece. I don't think I add anything else, but I think I kind of just play around and decide in the end that I like it as it is. So yeah, I'm going to just grab little bits and bobs and see if I want to add anything else. I kind of like this tag here that I have decorated a while ago, and so I kind of like the idea of putting something in the corner where it's bare, but I can't kind of decide on what to add, so I kind of go through pretty much everything. These Elvis vellum stickers are actually from my shop. They printed out and smudged whilst printing, so I ended up popping them in my scrap bin. I'm also thinking of adding a label at the top, and again I just kind of adding and taking away and kind of just deciding what I like and what I don't like. So I end up grabbing this little scrap of paper and turning it into a tag. So I'm using this larger tag as a sort of template, I guess, and I'm just going to draw around the top and use that to create a different styled tag rather than your generic shape tag. And then I just cut off the excess sides because I think it looks a little bit like a tombstone. So I'm just going to cut those bits off, and that way it's just rounded at the top. And then I'm going to add a little bit of decoration and obviously the hole at the top as well. And then we'll see how that looks. So that's kind of what I decided on. So I'm just adding a little bit more ink to the edges of the tag that didn't actually have any. And it's just kind of, again, playing around, seeing which way it best suits. And then I'm going to tidy up the mess that is my desk. And then we can get to gluing this down. So I'm thinking of gluing down the main part, that larger piece. And then if I want to, I will add those tags later. And again, I'm just faffing about again, kind of deciding if I want to add anything else before I stick it down. And I end up adding this little bit of lace trim at the very top because I think it looks very pretty. It's one of my favourite lace trims, and it's just really well designed, I think. So again, I'm just kind of faffing about and just deciding if I want to add anything else. So now I'm committing and putting that top piece down, and then I'm going to move on and add my lace trim to the spine of the journal. So for all the journals, I've added a little bit of lace just to hide that binding. So I'm just kind of going through a bundle and deciding which one I like best, and I end up settling on this white one. So again, just cutting it down to size, and then I'll add my glue, and that just adds a really nice pretty aspect to the spine of the journal. And once this is glued down, I will then go in and add my cover, my image to the front cover rather. So again, just putting a nice amount of glue and then sticking it down, and then fixing that little crooked bit at the bottom. And then I will go in and add my image to the front cover. And again, I'll be very generous with the glue, and I need to give it a couple of seconds to kind of grip hold as well, especially at that spine area. But it's once this is down that I kind of decide that I don't really want those two tags on the front, so I just put them to the side, and this is actually the finished product. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and got some inspiration from it. Don't forget to check out our previous videos, which are listed below in the playlist. And I will hopefully see you soon. Take care and God bless. Bye.